One of the most eagerly awaited video games finally goes on sale.
Preparing to rewrite retail history.
A video game is expected to have bigger first-day revenues than any movie has ever had on opening day at the box office.
Halo 2, released in 2004, was Bungie's next step for the Halo series. It was clear that the first Halo game had a pretty hardcore fan base at the time, and people were holding out hope that there would be another Halo game. But their dreams would soon come true when Bungie started developing Halo 2 in late 2003. Seeing that Halo 2 released in 2004 and started being developed in late 2003 doesn't sound like a lot of time to develop a game, especially as grandiose as Halo, and it wasn't. Bungie experienced something every video game company has to go through once or twice. Bungie even experienced this in the first Halo game. They had to crunch during Halo 2 hard to meet the November 2004 deadline. As a result of working endless hours, some even sleeping in Bungie offices, they had to cut many things from the game. So how did they do it? Did they leave the game unfinished, or did they overcome the dreadful deadline and release a game worthy of such praise? In the last episode, I discussed the beginnings of the Halo franchise and why Halo 1 was as good as it was not only on its own, but to its contribution to the future of Halo. And something to note is if the graphics look too good for 2004, they are. I'll be using footage from Halo 2 Anniversary, released in 2014, in this video so that the overall video is better to look at. The graphics in Halo 2 Anniversary are remastered and look overall cleaner and better than the original graphics. Not saying that the original is bad, but unlike Halo 1, the graphics just don't hold up today. This video will be split into 4 parts just like the previous episode: story, gameplay, multiplayer, and a reflection. This is episode 2 of my Halo video series. Halo 2 begins right after the events of Halo 1, where Master Chief and Sergeant Johnson are being awarded for their bravery and heroism in the destruction of the Halo ring on a space station called Cairo Station. Right away you can see that Master Chief's armor has changed. Between Halo 1 and 2, the Chief got upgraded from the Mjolnir Mark V to the Mjolnir Mark VI. Mjolnir is the name of the armor Master Chief wears. It then cuts to an elite Supreme Commander standing in front of a large Covenant crowd. This is the first time we meet the Prophets of the Covenant. The Prophets act as leaders of the Covenant. Their names are Truth, Mercy, and Regret. They ridicule the elite because he was tasked with killing the Master Chief and securing the Halo ring. Many people in the crowd call him a heretic, and that he should be executed. Now, calling someone a heretic often means that they are part of some sort of religion. To be a heretic, you have to defy your religion and do everything worthy of being punished. We then learn why the Covenant wants to activate the ring. They believe that the people who built the rings, the Forerunners, are something like a god, and when they activate the rings, they'll go to some kind of heaven. They call this the Great Journey. It then cuts back to the Chief and Sergeant Johnson getting their medals of honor. Sergeant Johnson in this game is a much more significant character, and we can see this in the first few minutes of the game. This is unlike Halo 1, where he was just a cool character with nothing else really standing out. We then see Miranda Keyes get introduced, Jacob Keyes' daughter. If you watch the last episode, you'll know who Captain Keyes is and how he succumbed to the Flood. The person giving all these medals out is a new character, Lord Hood. Lord Hood is a fleet admiral and is in control of all military spacecraft operations. It again cuts back to the Elite, where all of his armor has been removed, and now a new race of the Covenant we didn't see in Halo 1 is introduced, called the Brutes. A Brute then burns him and brands him for punishment. It cuts back again to the Chief, and Cairo Station is under attack. Cairo Station is the third level in Halo 2, with the first two basically being cutscenes. You go all around the ship shooting Covenant and using the new weapons. The 60-round assault rifle from the first game has been removed and replaced with the SMG. The powerful Magnum from the first game has also been removed and replaced with the battle rifle, a 36-round burst weapon that has impeccable accuracy. Throughout the level, you start to learn that the Covenant have possibly placed a bomb on the ship, and Lord Hood commands you to find it and deactivate it. When you find the bomb, only a few seconds are left until it explodes. Then the greatest cutscene in possibly all of gaming plays out.
Just one question. What if you miss?
I won't.
Pretty good.
So after Master Chief gives the Covenant back their bomb, Chief boards the Amberclad, a large UNSC ship, and heads for Earth. The Covenant found Earth because Kyra Station was stationed right above it. Outskirts is the 4th level in Halo 2, and in the beginning cutscene we meet a large Covenant vehicle called the Scarab. It shoots a large green laser at the Pelican we are in, a Pelican being a UNSC flying vehicle, and you crash land on Earth. What's cool is that the Scarab's purpose is to be used as an excavation tool, which we can assume that the Covenant did not come to Earth with the purpose of killing humans. The Prophet of Regret planned this attack and is trying to find an artifact on Earth. We fight in the streets of New Mombasa, a large city on Earth, and kill a lot of Covenant throughout the city. You can also see in this mission that the Covenant are very unfamiliar with Earth. I mean, they are alien after all. You can see this because of the way they attack you. They don't know how to navigate the city, so most times they're just wandering around the streets in groups trying to find where to go and what to do. In the 5th mission, Metropolis, you see the Scarab's full size. It is big and towers over most buildings in the city. A Marine explains to Master Chief that nothing has been able to do any damage to the Scarab. Despite this information, Sergeant Johnson drops a Scorpion for us. We then drive across the bridge that connects to another part of the city. Throughout the mission, you see the Scarab trample over the city. At the end of the mission, you get to drop on the Scarab, kill all of the Covenant on board, and explode the Scarab. With this loss, Regret decides to flee Earth and use a slip space portal inside the city. A slip space portal is the way that all spacecraft travel around the galaxy. Everyone boards the Amberclad and chases after Regret, and they make it into the portal right when it's about to close. The result of using a slip space portal in Earth's atmosphere is devastating, as it explodes right in front of the city, leaving it in ruins. The 6th mission, the Arbiter, sees us closely begin to follow the elite commander, his actual name being Thel Vadam, as he is being dragged throughout the halls of High Charity. High Charity is the capital city of the Covenant, and is basically a space station with a large city inside of it. He is taken to the Prophets to decide what to do with him. Thel is expecting death, but the Prophets explain that they know he is no heretic. They offer him a chance to redeem himself by becoming an Arbiter. An Arbiter is a high ranking in the Covenant, given to only one elite at a time, and their goal is to go on high-risk missions to eventually get killed in battle.
What would you have your Arbiter do?
The Arbiter's first mission, and considering that his missions are supposed to get him killed, his last mission is to kill a heretic leader that broke from the Covenant's beliefs. In the cutscene that follows, we meet Ratas Vadume, also known as Spec Ops Commander. He at first despises the Arbiter and clearly explains to him that he does not care for him. The Arbiter expresses the same notion towards himself as well by saying,
Are the Arbiter, the will of the prophets, but these are my elites. Their lives matter to me, yours does not. That makes two of us.
The heretic leader is inside a Forerunner structure in the middle of a heavy storm. The Arbiter lands on the structure and pursues the heretic leader. This is the first time we get to play as an elite in any of the Halo games. While many people at the time hated this decision of half of the missions being played as an elite instead of the Master Chief, I think that the result of playing as a member of the Covenant gives a closer look at them, what they believe in, who commands them, and why they believe in their religion. The 7th mission, the Oracle, sees you closely following the heretic leader, but a familiar enemy stops us in our tracks. The Flood has made their way onto the structure and try to infect anything on it. You cut through the Flood as you pursue the heretic leader once more. You finally confront him, but he has another familiar character from the first game with him. 343 Guilty Spark is also in the structure, and the heretic leader tells him to explain to the Arbiter why the Great Journey is a lie. But before Guilty Spark can finish, the leader starts shooting the Arbiter.
The elites are blind, Arbiter, but I will make them see.
This boss battle has you trying to find the real heretic leader, but it's exceptionally difficult, with his 2 holograms floating around you shooting with 2 plasma rifles. You eventually kill him and throw him down into the storm below. This is also the first time that the Arbiter calls 343 Guilty Spark the Oracle. An oracle in a religion is a person or thing considered to provide insight, wise counsel, or prophetic predictions, most notably including precognition of the future, inspired by deities. If done through occultic means, it is a form of divination. The 8th mission, Delta Halo, sees us following the Master Chief again. When the In-Emberclag went through the portal, it led to another Halo ring. Everyone on the ship is surprised seeing how the UNSC only thought there was one Halo ring, and Miranda Keyes is ready to plan an attack on the ring and explore it. If things go well, then they can deactivate the ring just like the last one and find the other rings. But seeing how this mission only marks the halfway point of the story, it won't be that easy. The Chief, Marines, Sergeant Johnson, and a newly introduced rank in the UNSC called ODSTs, standing for Orbital Drop Shock Trooper, land on the ring from their drop pods and start killing more Covenant.
Possibly make any more noise? I guess so.
It's clear that the Covenant were preparing for this, as they have many groups guarding different parts of the ring. Since the Covenant ship we chased landed on the ring and has the Prophet of Regret, the plan is to find Regret and kill him. And as we go into the 9th mission, Regret, we get closer and closer to his location. The beginning cutscene for the level shows a hologram of the Prophet of Regret and explains his plan of what to do with the ring.
That's what I thought he said. The Prophet of Regret is planning to activate Halo.
Are you sure?
I shall light this holy ring, release its cleansing flame, and burn a path into the divine beyond.
Pretty much.
Now we have an even larger reason to kill him. We get closer and closer to Regret by riding these hovering transport things across the ocean to reach the structure where Regret is held up in. Just as we arrive, a large Covenant fleet appears over the ring, and Cortana explains that it is the largest Covenant fleet anyone has ever seen. Seeing how there are not only a plethora of large Covenant ships, but also the entirety of the High Charity, it's easy to see why she would say that. You kill the Prophet of Regret by punching him to death and exit the structure. Just as you exit the structure, a large Covenant ship is parked right above the structure and uses something called a glassing beam. A glassing beam is a large beam that is equipped with all Covenant cruisers and basically acts like a nuke in beam form.
This is not your grave. But you are welcome in it.
The 10th and 11th missions, Sacred Icon and Quarantine Zone. We play as the Arbiter and try to retrieve the icon that will activate the ring. The Arbiter finds the icon, but Miranda, Keyes, and Sergeant Johnson have already got it. The Arbiter fights them both, but Tartarus grabs the icon for himself. Tartarus is the brute that branded him at the start of the game, and is the brute leader. The Arbiter explains that it was his responsibility to retrieve the icon, but Tartarus says that now it is his responsibility.
And the prophets learn of this, that they will take your head when they learn. Fool, they ordered me to do it.
This betrayal starts the downfall of the elites, as it seems like the prophets don't want them to be the leading force of the Covenant, favoring the brutes more. The 12th mission, Gravemind, is the first time that the Arbiter and the Chief are together, and they meet the leader of the Flood, the Gravemind. I obviously can't show what he looks like in this video, but he looks pretty disgusting. The Gravemind explains that he has been controlling the Flood all along, and that he needs the Arbiter and Chief's help. He explains that they have the same goal to stop the key from turning. This is obviously referring to the Covenant lighting the ring using the icon. The Arbiter does not have that goal, but now that he has been betrayed by the prophets, he is considering becoming a heretic. The Gravemind teleports the Chief to High Charity and the Arbiter to a mountainous area on Delta Halo. Also, yes, this thing can teleport. But the mission Gravemind follows the Chief. You make your way through High Charity as a civil war is happening between the brutes and the elites. We can also see that Johnson and Miranda have been captured by Tartarus. Tartarus tries to get Miranda to light the ring because, just like the first game, a human is the only one that can light the rings. In Amberclad has crashed inside High Charity, and it gives you a reminder of just how big High Charity is. In Amberclad was a huge ship, and you saw its size throughout the story, but now it's so small and insignificant compared to High Charity. The Prophet of Mercy gets attacked by the Flood and is presumed killed. All three prophets die in a way that relates to their names. Mercy dies because no one gave him mercy and let him die to the Flood. The Prophet of Regret dies because he regrets coming to Earth and allowing the Chief to follow him to Delta Halo. The Prophet of Truth does not die in this game, though, but you can infer that he might die still lying about the Great Journey. The 13th mission, Uprising, follows the Arbiter. He reflects on the Prophet's betrayal and questions the truth of the Great Journey. He fights through a bunch of brutes, which is a first for the Arbiter. At the end of the mission, he's reunited with the Spec Ops commander. In the 10th and 11th missions, Sacred Icon and Quarantine Zone, the Spec Ops commander and the Arbiter have become good friends, and it's clear they look out for each other. In the 14th mission, High Charity, we again follow the Master Chief. We see the Flood rapidly infect High Charity. Now you would think that the prophets and the Covenant as a whole would be concerned or worried that the Flood has found them, but they are so close to activating the ring and completing the Great Journey. Master Chief finds Mercy and asked him where Truth's going, and Mercy says to finish what they started, and says that no one will be left behind. He rips the small flood on his neck, and Mercy dies. Cortana then devises a plan to destroy High Charity. She suggests that they detonate the crashed Amber-Clad's reactor and explode it the same way they did with the Pillar of Autumn on the first Halo ring. But Cortana says she doesn't want a chance at remote detonation and that she needs to stay on High Charity. This separation is a sad one because we don't know if Cortana is going to make it back to Chief. She'll be stuck with the Gravemind for who knows how long. The plan for Master Chief is to board the ship in the middle of High Charity that is also being boarded by the Prophet of Truth. And a Phantom, a flying Covenant vehicle, is being boarded by Tartarus, Miranda, and Johnson. Tartarus is going to activate the ring, so now Chief has two things to worry about, Truth and Tartarus. The 15th mission, The Great Journey, is the last mission of Halo 2. The Arbiter and the Spec Ops Commander both head to a structure called the Bastion of the Brutes to try to get a scarab to open the door to Halo's control room. Johnson and Miranda are already close to Halo's control room. On a landing pad outside of the control room, Sergeant Johnson looks like he is about to be killed by a pack of brutes. That's when the Arbiter comes in and they kill all the brutes before they can kill him. Johnson takes the scarab and forms an unexpected alliance with the Arbiter. Many missions ago, they hated each other and fought over the Index, but now they realize they both have an equal goal: to again stop the key from turning and stop the Covenant from lighting the ring. They both get inside the control room and catch Tartarus off guard. The Arbiter fully gives in to being broken from his religion and tells 343 Guilty Spark, which Tartarus also captured, to explain what Halo is and what it does. He does so, but even after hearing what Halo really does, Tartarus is still loyal to his religion, and forces Miranda's hand down into the console to start the firing of the ring. We then get a boss battle with Tartarus. You eventually beat him and Miranda takes the key out of the console. A large beam of energy shoots out of the control room as a result of the firing of the ring being stopped. This signals a remote detonation somewhere we aren't told yet. Guilty Spark tells the others that there are more rings in this galaxy, and that a large ring-like structure that resembles the Halo rings called the Ark controls the rings and is where the rings can be fired on a remote detonation. We then cut back to the Master Chief, who's going on a ship with the Prophet of Truth. Truth is going back to Earth, and it is assumed that he is looking for something on Earth. Lord Hood sees the ship and almost shoots it down, but not before Master Chief tells him that he is on the ship.
Ship? Sir, finishing this fight.
And that is the infamous cliffhanger of an ending that Halo 2 gave us. The gameplay of Halo 2 is almost flawless. It keeps the core Halo aspect of the gameplay and expands on it in so many ways. To start, Halo 2 introduces dual-wielding weapons. Since the assault rifle was removed, Bungie decided to replace it with the SMG. The SMG on its own is pretty mediocre, doing little damage, but firing very fast. But when you find another SMG, while still holding one SMG in your hand, it gives you the option to dual wield it. Now you have two SMGs, doubling the damage and fire rate. You can do this with any of the small weapons like the Needler, Plasma Rifle, Plasma Pistol, and Magnum. And another thing to note about the Magnum in Halo 2. Since I said previously that the Battle Rifle kind of replaced the Halo 1 Magnum, the Magnum wasn't gone. Instead, it has a newer model, and with this new model, it allows it to shoot faster with the cost of less damage. But with this new dual-wielding mechanic, the Magnum in Halo 2 can still do substantial damage. More new weapons include the Covenant Carbine, the Beam Rifle, and the Energy Sword. The Energy Sword is possibly the most iconic weapon in Halo history. It is a sword made out of plasma and pure energy, and the sound when you pull it out is just unforgettable. The online multiplayer was chaotic, fun, and crazy, but something that made it even crazier was the custom games. A custom game is a private match you can make and change the setting of the game mode. This is where one of the most famous game modes came from and was made by the community.
Infection.
Infection consists of one infected against 8 or so survivors. The survivors had shotguns and a singular magnum, while the infected had an energy sword. When infected, you were expected to manually join the green team and join the infected. The game mode for the time was mind-blowing. How could someone make this fun of the game mode just by using the settings on a custom game? The maps were also really well designed. The maps were designed around Halo multiplayer's core aspects, to get the power weapon on the map for your team and get a ton of kills with it. This provides a unique twist on the usual team deathmatch style game mode in most first-person shooters where you control a part of the map and defeat the enemy team. And more of a reason to get the power weapon is that when the game starts, everyone gets the same 2 weapons, usually a battle rifle and an SMG. So if you want an advantage on the enemy team, you have to find better weapons on the map. The placements of these weapons are also genius. Let's take midship for example. On midship, there are 2 levels on the map. The top level of the map has an energy sword in the middle of it. Bad thing is, everyone on the map can see you, so it really is a risk and reward to get the sword. But if you do get the sword, you get your team closer to victory as you start taking out the enemy team with the sword. Many people think of Halo 2's multiplayer very fondly, and there's a great deal of nostalgia surrounding it. Many nights with friends playing Halo 2 late into the night, making memories and having fun. Halo 2 in the present day is far from being forgotten, and that's due to the Master Chief Collection, a collection of all the mainline Halo games, preserving the Halo games. In 2014, Halo 2 Anniversary was announced along with the Master Chief Collection. An anniversary was a familiar topic amongst Halo fans with the anniversary remaster of Halo Combat Evolved in 2011. The remaster of Halo 2 featured a full overhaul of the cutscenes, a revamp of the graphics, while still keeping the feel of Halo 2, and a remaster of the multiplayer. With this in mind, I also want to talk about the jump between Halo 1 and 2. Comparing the two, Halo 1 focused on its locations and story-driven gameplay, while Halo 2 focused on how epic the Master Chief was, expanding the Halo universe and expanding the overall size of the game. With this expansion of size, Bungie's ambition got a little ahead of them to the point where they had to cut many missions, vehicles, enemies, and weapons from the game. They quite literally had to cut the ending of Halo 2 and use a cliffhanger ending. But Halo 1 and 2 aren't entirely different, but when we move to Halo 3, it's almost like a combination of Halo 1 and 2. In Episode 3, I will be exploring the end of an era, Halo 3.